Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Noah for Authentic by Design, and today we're talking about self love and self acceptance and why it is the only means through which you can achieve real and permanent change in your life. All right, so why is self love or self acceptance the only way you could experience real and permanent change in your life? Well, it's pretty simple, okay? You have to think about why, in the first place, anyone, including yourself, would want to change anything about your current circumstance or scenario that you experience in life. Okay? Most people approach change from the negative side. They see something they don't like, or they experience something that is discomforting, uncomfortable, or dissatisfactory to them. They think, oh, I'm too fat, or I should have more money, or I need a better girlfriend or boyfriend or significant other, a better partner, or I need a better job, right? But what all of these statements have in common is the focus on the lack of perceived well-being. In fact, a focus on something that is perceived to be negative in their experience. And so they go about trying to change the thing that feels negative to them because they just don't like it, right? They haven't made peace with it. But you see, the problem with that is that the you that is trying to change you is the same you that got you into the place where you are now. So if your waistline is, 4 sizes bigger than you're used to seeing it, you don't like the way you look in the mirror, or you're attracting the wrong kind of partner, or you've been struggling with money issues for a long time, or you've been dissatisfied in your career for years, despite the promotions and the advancements and getting a bigger car, a bigger house, you're still dissatisfied. Well, why is that, right? Why is it that any change you try to make is inevitably going to lead to temporary satisfaction? I'm not saying like cars and clothes and a house and a slimmer waistline won't make you happy in the short term, but why don't they lead to happiness in the long term? Real internal fulfillment, right? Permanent, lasting change, the change that you actually desire. It's because the old self is the self that's trying to change self, right? And so you see very quickly how this becomes a vicious cycle, right? So the ego likes to fool itself into thinking it's doing more. Oh, I'm a better human being. Oh, I'm developing myself. Look how great I am. And look how good my life is becoming. I feel so wonderful, right? But it's a trap. It's a trick. Because you see, it'll never be enough. The ego self that was trying to change itself was coming from that place of not feeling good enough, or scarcity, or some other negative paradigm. And so the entire process of transformation is infused with that, let's call it a tint, right? The paradigm of negativity. And so eventually, right, at one point or another, you realize that you may have a slimmer waistline, or you may have got a different significant other, or maybe you changed careers, or maybe you started to make more money, but you're realizing that it didn't really do it for you. You're still kind of back to square one, back where you felt so long ago when you were trying to make the change in the first place. That's assuming you succeeded, right? A lot of times people trying to make a change from the negative perspective just fail outright, and they become discouraged and they sink deeper into their hole, right? So that's the other outcome that is possible. So it should become clear then why self-love and self-acceptance is the only means through which you can change. And I'm actually going to say something which is going to sound contradictory for a second, but just hear me out, right? In truth, you can't actually change yourself, right? Because the self that needs changing is the self that's doing the changing, right? You see that? So you can't actually change self. Think about that for a second. You can't actually change yourself. Now, on the surface, this sounds really disheartening. You're like, are you telling me, Noah, that I'm stuck where I am? No, I'm not. It's all about perspective, okay? It's all about what you can become aware of, what you can actually perceive in your reality. And now, full circle, this is why self-love and self-acceptance is so critical, so important in your process of development, spiritually, emotionally, physically, financially, in your relationships, in your career, whatever. You see, when you accept yourself unconditionally, when you love yourself fully, first thing you do is you give yourself the grace to just be who you are. Because that's really your only purpose in life, is just to be, as if there was some other meaning to life. Oh, it's to accumulate cars or clothes or status or wealth or have sex with lots of sexy partners, right? All of that is fleeting. All of that is tangible, right? We try and like make life out to be some great mystery, as if there was any purpose other than just to simply be. To simply be who you are. And so when you accept yourself for where you're at right now, you give yourself grace to begin, shall we say, subtle, but very distinct changes in your life, right? You see, because your perception is that wherever you're at is okay, right? You start to make peace with where you're at. You actually start to get more experiences that match that level of awareness and perception, that things are okay, that things are good the way they are, exactly the way they are. And there's no need to change them, even when they seem negative, right? Because if you can sit in the negativity or the perceived negativity and start to see goodness, start to see well-being, start to see prosperity, success, fulfillment, whatever it is, then these experiences are going to slowly start to trickle into your life, right? They're going to start to appear. At first, it's going to seem like total randomness and coincidence, but really what it is a change in the fundamental concept that you have of self. A fundamental change in your frequency or vibration, to use a word that gets thrown out a lot, right? If you think about it like this, right? Like a radio tower will broadcast a specific frequency. Let's say it's like Kiss FM. That's a big radio station in LA, 102.7. So you're driving to work wherever you live in Los Angeles, and you're listening to 102.7. You're listening to Ryan Seacrest in the morning, right? And you get 102.7 because you're tuned in to 102.7. Right? If you wanted to listen to Ryan Seacrest, but your radio was tuned into 99.9, you wouldn't get upset. You just change the dial, right? You just adjust the frequency a little bit, and you get a different broadcast. And so that's what's happening through your consciousness, through your awareness. This is how reality actually works, right? We think we experience something and then we register it here, but actually it happens here. It happens here, and then we experience it, right? And so when you shift your paradigm, your concept of self, into self-love, self-acceptance, then the radio station that you're broadcasting, the frequency or the vibration, the radio wave that's coming out of you, is self-love, self-acceptance, well-being, prosperity, success, right? You actually get those experiences back into your life. When you imagine yourself, right? Visualization. Why is that such a powerful technique, right? Well, you go to the place of the wish fulfilled. And the true secret to visualization is being able to think from that endpoint. Not to think of it, not just to be dreaming of it, like, oh, I want $1 million. Oh, it'd be so great, right? But to like actually put yourself in the state of being emotionally, how it would feel to really have attained that goal, maybe through a successful business enterprise or some other means. You hit the lottery, perhaps, right? But how would life actually be, right? And $1 million is kind of an easy example. It's sort of a cheesy one too, but you can insert any example into that space. How would it actually feel, right? Well, it'd probably feel pretty fucking good. Whatever it is that you're really dreaming of, whatever it is that you were, really designed to be, your true heart's desire. And you can imagine that the version of you who has achieved everything they want to achieve in life, they're satisfied romantically, sexually, in their career, they get to wake up every day and do what they love. They get to go on lots of cool adventures. They get to spend time with people that are important to them. Maybe they have like a cool car collection, or maybe they really love records, or maybe they love rock climbing and they go do that shit all the time, right? If you can think of like your highest version of yourself, that version of you also loves and accepts themselves no matter what. Their self-esteem is just level 10,000, right? Because they've learned that. They've learned that skill, right? Self-esteem is not just something you have or you don't have. It's something that you practice. And so when you step into your moment of desiring a change from a place of acceptance and love, then the world is your oyster. The potential is completely infinite. It's absolutely limitless, but the trick is that you have to stay in that place, even when you perceive negativity in your life, even when you perceive things that you don't like, that are displeasing to you. Okay? The only reason they're displeasing is because there's something within yourself, within your heart space, or within your mind space that you have yet to resolve, that you have yet to make peace with. Because you see, positive and negative are really just two sides of the same coin, right? We give them morality judgments. Oh, this is good, this is bad, this is positive, this is negative. But really, it's cut from the same cloth, right? You can't have positive without the context of negative. And you can't have negative without the context of positive. So if you want to experience these positive changes in your life, and you're resisting the negative, right? You're the negative self trying to change self, you only get more resistance. Because your frequency, your vibration, your radio station is resistance. I don't like this thing. I'm going to resist it. I'm going to try and change it. And guess what? Your focus is on that same shit that you're going through. And you're going to get more of it and more of it and more of it and more of it. This is how reality works. It's completely neurotic to try and think that you can change yourself. Just be yourself. Love yourself. Embrace yourself. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Because guess what? No one's perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. Your mom's not perfect. Your grandmom's not perfect. Santa Claus isn't perfect. Okay? You're just a human being right now, at least. Okay? Accept yourself. Love yourself. No matter what. It sounds hokey. Maybe if this is the first time you're ever really hearing this message, maybe this is the first time anyone's told you that this is the way reality actually works, that you experience it in your heart and your mind before it becomes manifest in your physical experience. Maybe your whole life you've been living backwards, the other way around. Maybe just for a second, suspend your disbelief and entertain this notion and see what happens, see what you observe, see what patterns actually become apparent to you when you decide, or at least entertain the notion of this paradigm, right? See what happens if you practice radical self-acceptance, self-love for just 30 days. Just 30 days. Zero judgment against yourself or anyone else. No criticism, no avoiding the shit you don't like, no berating yourself, no berating others. Yeah, you gained 2 pounds today. Okay. So the fuck what? You're still awesome, right? Oh, your bank account's in the red. So the fuck what? You're still awesome, right? Oh, you had a fight with your significant other. Doesn't matter. You're still lovable. But if you don't give yourself the love and the grace and the acceptance, I guarantee you nobody else will. Nobody will. So think on that. I hope it's helpful. Thumbs up if you dig the video. Leave a comment below if you have questions. And stay tuned. Keep coming back, and I will see you in the next video.